Well, just a picture perfect day outside in the middle of May. As we talk about Michigan, the defending national champs, with former Wolverine Jim Scarcelli, who is always ready and says he's always doing good. And here he is. Scar, how are you?
Danny, fired up. A lot of things happening in college football, man. You're going to lead a football program like our guy, Sharon Moore. Things are happening quickly with rule changes and NIL and all these legislative things going on. And you just got to be on the ball. You cannot let anybody get a step on you. You got to be ahead of the curve and anticipate all these little moves. You know, a great Napoleon once said, I remember Lloyd was an avid reader. And Lloyd said this was a Napoleon quote that he liked. Leadership is the art of anticipation. That was a Napoleon quote. And it's so true. Who's the guy that can predict what's going to happen sooner, with players, coaches, whatever, the enemy, blah, 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 the rules. Anyway, we're going to get into some of this stuff today and all the little things that are happening.
Well, as an aside, Scar, I was, you see a movie that's going to come out and you anticipate, seeing it. And Napoleon was, I saw that Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, this guy's a great actor. The guy that played Joker. He's playing Napoleon. And I'm thinking, I've got to go to the IMAX. I've got to go like I did Dunkirk. I said, I have to go. So it was good. It was, cinematography up the wazoo. I was happy that I made the trip, but there was the same thing that I was thinking for Napoleon, but I did not end up at the movie theater. And then like a week or two later, it was on Apple TV or something that I had. So it was a Friday night and I sat there and I got to almost give it I think I got to give it a thumbs down, even with why it was like, not that I don't mind history and, and all of that, but it was more like I was watching a, one of these, kind of boring, long, it didn't do it for me, man.
I thought it'd be a little more. I'm going to see Planet of the Apes at the theater here. There's couple it's coming up soon, but enough of that. Let's get into some stuff, Danny.
I saw Planet of the Apes at the drive-in back in the day, Scar. That was the way to go. That was exciting. Well, Scar's not ready. He didn't want to talk about the drive-in. He wants to talk about Michigan.
Well, I remember going to driving in when having three of your buddies in the trunk. You remember those days, Denny?
That's why there's no drive-ins.
Oh, you're going to the movie by yourself. You're riding kind of low in the back. I'm just the good old days, when you didn't have no money in your pocket.
My dad lived by a movie theater or a drive-in, and you didn't even have to jump the fence. There was a spot you could just go through, and then you'd sit out in front of the concession stand, and they had the speakers out there. But that's part of it too. You can't tighten up the security all the way around, and you see the 13-year-olds or whatever run in there. It was whenever E.T. came out. I think I saw E.T. And Rocky. I probably saw those movies 20 times at the drive-in theater. All right, well, Scar, we have some film down here, not Planet of the Apes or E.T. or anything else. Michigan film. You're going to talk about some quarterbacks, and you've looked at the schedule, and we know it's a gauntlet. Let's see how tough actually you think the Michigan schedule is, but let's start with name, image, and likeness. Everybody's exciting a piece of college football that changes rapidly. People want their piece of the pie. Some of the players, some of the parents, some of the agents want a piece of that name, image, and likeness money, Scar. And there was a story this week in The Athletic that caught your eye.
Denny, I talk to a lot of guys that are coaching still. I coached 25 years, and I talk to a lot of my buddies that are still in it, and I know guys that are have their kids getting recruited, blah blah blah. So I'm into the discussions. I know what's going on. And then that article, it really woke me up, reaffirmed some things I was hearing, and it's incredible. Some of the things in that article, the NIL, how parents are getting a cut of the action. Mm-hmm. You talk to a kid. And maybe the parents are separated, and the kid's getting $200,000 and the parents are getting $100,000 each. I didn't expect that. The high school coach. What was interesting about that article is the way these guys are doing it to avoid getting caught. So let's say a guy wants to talk to a kid at another school, and he doesn't want to just pick up the phone and call, Joe Stud at Toledo. He calls his high school coach, and he's the middleman. And then the high school mate puts it out there. Hey, listen, this Big Ten school or this SEC school wants you. And as soon as you get in that portal, they want you, and they got this much amount of money for you. So the high school coach is working as the middleman. Parents are getting a cut of the action. And another thing in that article that was really disturbing, you got kids that are real happy at a certain school. Players, they like where they're at, getting a couple dollars NIL. And the parents of those kids are pressuring them to go take a bigger NIL paycheck at another school. And the kid don't want to leave. I just was reading that stuff and talking to some of my friends, and they're confirming these things. And it's just, it is what it is, man. Your thoughts?
Well, the wild part is that the thing you got to remember is these guys are all free agents, and whatever that contract that they're going to sign, maybe it spoon feeds them their money over 2 or 3 years. But if they're just getting the money up front, they're looking to getting free agency again after a year. They're out. Like, I'd like to see what Dante Moore's deal looked like. First of all, to go to UCLA. Michigan thought they had to beat around $3 million. UCLA, I would guess that they came to the table and got him to flip to the Bruins, and then he took off after a year. How much, if it was $3 million, was he able to actually pocket? And then how much did Oregon come back over the top? You always say, well, these kids just got to have their eyes on their money or everything else. Dante Moore, he may never play it down in the NFL, and he might have $6 million in his pocket. I don't know. Like, that sounds pretty crazy. I thought that that this part from the Athletic, they had one of the coaches, they were anonymous. He said it was so out of control because everybody knows there's not any regulations to it. He said it's like being on the freeway and there's a speed limit, but there's no cops. I mean, no regulatory body like there is in theory, but nobody cares. And so that gets you. Let me take it, Scar, to Michigan, because Michigan for years have been adamant they don't want to pay. Even Harbaugh a couple of years ago was out. He's like, he questioned how it would work with team chemistry if you were bringing a hot shot prep in and how that would deal with it. And then, of course, he famously said that Michigan was transformational, not transactional. But Michigan fans are looking at the recruiting right now, and they're like, maybe we want to be a little bit more transactional. Should Michigan be transactional when it comes to NIL and preps in recruiting? That's my question for you.
Denny, Texas A&M is the poster child why not to go that route. Jimbo in Texas A&M had the biggest payroll with all those 5-star kids, and all it did was get him fired, and none of them kids are even in the program. I don't know. Most of them have left. So I believe and have faith in the Harbaugh-Moore approach. Why give all that money to Dante Moore and let Chip Kelly develop him? Did nothing as a freshman there, But let me say this too. I do believe that Michigan is taking care of our guys. For Will Johnson, Mason Graham, Donovan Edwards, Loveland, these guys didn't pack I guarantee you, Josiah Stewart, people threw some money at those guys. And those guys are all they stayed at Michigan. And I believe that it was a combination of wanting to be at Michigan, but we found a way to take care of those guys.
Yeah, well, I think everybody would agree with you there. There's 3 parts of NIL. Player retention on your roster, what you just mentioned. Michigan did do a good job. I'd give them an A+ on that. What they were able to do last year, getting their guys NIL-wise, that was great. The other part of the NIL is transfer portal. People were really worried about Michigan, like they can't get anybody in. They're not going to – well, they decided that they are spending money and they are bringing guys in via the transfer portal. So I'd give them an A there. In the transfer portal, it's that other part that you're talking about. You mentioned Texas A&M, the extreme, and something that didn't work For sure. It just seems like a little bit of a fallacy to me because everybody's doing it. We point to, oh yeah, but Miami's a joke, and so is Texas A&M. Like, well, how about everybody else? That's doing it, that it's working out for. That would be my questions. Are that you targeting a few players and having whatever you can have your salary cap and whatever you think a player that can be difficult. I'm sure they have these conversations. But you might as Michigan shouldn't bring in any 5 stars if their idea is we're not going to be offering any NIL to any prep. I don't know why they even make a call to any kind of 5-star.
Yeah, Denny, I think we've got 5-6 guys, 2025. Let's see how it plays out. Let's give them a little time. And, I just think it's a different approach. But I do think we have something because we kept our guys, but at the same time, Texas A&M and Miami, Texas A&M lost all them kids. He paid all them 17-year-old kids, and they were garbage. So anyway, that article was interesting. I wonder, Denny, I wonder why Beasley left. There's only one guy that left that I questioned. Now I understood the safety going to Alabama. He's a starter. He didn't want to be a backup. We got 2 guys back anyway. But the Beasley kid, and that's some of the stuff you're hearing is that some of these kids will go and then right away someone else offers them, or they're realizing something and they pack their bags right quick. That was the one kid that left that bugged me, and I'm wondering if I think it was Kansas. Is that where he was going, or Missouri? Somebody threw something. Missouri changed their law in the state, and I wonder if that enabled them to ante up. And Beasley said, "Hey, I'm going, man." So.
Well, maybe there should be even more. I don't think we should be that surprised. It sucked, losing Beasley. He came in early, but there could be a lot of different things. He went in, it's like, wow, man, this is a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. And then, maybe he got to look at, some of his classes and went in there. It's like, oh man, I really have to go to class. And then Missouri's online with him. It was like, we got a clear path to start. And we got, I don't know, 250 for you. When you come down to the show me state, we'll show you the money.
Yeah.
And poof, I'm gone. I'm out.
It could have been it could have been the competition, Denny, but I did not want to see that kid go. Another thing that's going on that is a factor that people need to understand. There's legislation, there's discussion about limiting the amount of players on your roster. Jim Harbaugh had 140 guys on his roster the last few years, 140 of them, 85 on scholarship, and maybe 15 guys or so on NILs. And everybody does that. And it's no secret. There's a bunch of guys at a lot of schools that are NIL scholarship guys. It's not a secret. People are doing it. Okay. And what the NCAA wants to do now is say, okay, 85 total on your sideline, on your roster. That way they work around the Michigan and Ohio States that can afford to have NIL extra guys on, you call them NIL scholarships, whereas Indiana, Northwestern, some of those guys might not be able to afford to go above the 85, scholarships. You understand what I'm saying there? So anyway, that's going on, and that is something that it will be of impact.
Yeah, if they go to some kind of salary cap situation where that's going to bring in parity to other teams. So sometimes you're a Michigan fan, you got to be careful what you wish for. You want Michigan just to go out there and peel off some bills and get some 5-stars and get some talent in here. But you probably don't want it to go to a parity situation because Michigan is one of the halves, and go to a situation where you're talking about 85 scholarships and you can't go over because Michigan is one of the halves. You don't want it to go there. I'd say that the biggest story in college football right now isn't the 18 teams in the Big Ten or that they're going to a 12-team playoff or NIL. It's the $1 billion lawsuit that the NCAA has against them that they're going to come to an agreement with, and they are going to sign off. And players, I don't know how far back, maybe Scar, you'll get some money in your pocket. They're going to come to an agreement where they're going to have to cough up. We're talking about, the Big Ten, all of them, they're going to have to cough up. I don't know if it's billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. And then they're going to have to figure out whatever it's going to be moving forward. They've got a, multi-billion-dollar industry that they were able to just bring the players in for, nothing, which were scholarships. But, that is, they're going to lose that lawsuit. So they're going to come to an agreement. That's the biggest story of college football in the offseason.
Yeah. And Danny, I want to just follow up again on that 85 roster limit. 85 scholarships limit, 85 roster limit. What that does is it eliminates walk-ons. There's no more walk-ons. It's not going to happen. So because guys were, exploiting it, paying them with NIL, getting MAC level or high level guys to say, well, look, instead of going playing in the MAC, we're going to give you an NIL package. So there was a comment that someone said we got to get them on campus first, and that was one of the thoughts in that article. One of the guys in that article, one of the players talked in that article was saying, when I go on my trip, I don't want to talk to the academic people. I don't care about talking to the strength coach. I want to go right to the NIL guy. I want to start my official visit to the campus talking to the NIL guy, because if that discussion doesn't go well, I'm getting back on the plane. I mean, that's what a kid said. And the coaches said the opposite. They wanted to show the kid all around and spend as much time as possible with them to size the kid up before they decided, what we were going to present this kid with. So the coaches wanted to maximize that time to get a feel for what kind of kid is this guy. And some of the players, they wanted to talk money, forget about the business school. So it was just an interesting mindset of the players, some of the players and some of the coaches.
It is, a lot of times when you sit around here, we've got plenty to talk about, that is part of it. Tim says, if kids are wanting to see NIL, I don't care. We don't want that kid. How about that?
Yeah, Tim, that's what some of those coaches were saying. It's like, this kid is telling me what his program is. And it's, and you're right. The settlement could wipe out the Olympic sports, because there's just a lot of things going on, man.
I can't hold it against a kid. You get a 5-star rating. You got schools that are saying, we're going to give you $100,000. We're going to give you $1 million. And you got fans saying, you should just be happy to come to Michigan because you can play that, you can get your degree. I was like, kids like, what are you talking? Come on, what are you talking about? And meanwhile, they're watching Sports Center and they got, Jared Goff, getting $160 million. People are like, Goff, they should have paid him, like what? That's what the name of the game is. That's football. It's big time money. So, but I get that. I get the part where, the kid, if he's got his hand out, he's greedy or something. That's weird to say.
Country, man, it is. Dan, I got some other stuff on my list that isn't on yours. I want to jump into real quick.
All right.
You want to hit some of these questions? These young men don't want to. Yeah. Maybe you're right. Corey, they don't want to work. But, hey, Corey Parker, guy that I respect, successful high school coach at River Rouge, went on to Toledo, did a great job there. Sharon was actually looking at him. Bielema hired him at Illinois. The guy's he's a proven high school coach. He's a smart guy, good coach. I just wanted to throw that out. Danny, any thoughts on Corey Parker coaching DBs at Illinois?
Yeah, well, he was one of the guys that was, I think, on Michigan's short list and was on some kind of 2-deep for Sharon Moore. At one point, he looked like he was the leader to take over the Michigan secondary. So he was that close. And with his background in the state of Michigan, and he had some success. I think the number one defensive back in the draft this year, at least drafted the highest, was out of Toledo, right? So, he had that part going for him. If I was an Illinois fan, I'd be pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I think he's a good coach, and I like guys that are proven, and I've heard him and met him. And Danny, I'm going with an early pick. Danny, I got a pick. You want to make money?
An early, wait a second, for
hey,
early.
You can get now with FanDuel draft, all these guys, they got lines out early, Danny. I'm looking at USC coming to Ann Arbor. USC coming to Ann Arbor.
What's the line?
Michigan is -3. You know that game is going to be played at 9 o'clock for the USC football players, their time, 9 a.m. their time.
Is it a noon start? I thought
noon kickoff for the Wolverines. We'll be bunkered in. We'll be ready for that time because we play at that time. The Trojans are going to get up at 6 a.m. their time. They're going to fly 4 hours. I like it. You take Michigan -3. That's an early winner. Get with your get your phone up and get that winner in there. Denny, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you could be right. I saw the story yesterday that it was going to be played in the afternoon, which I was taking that it could still be at 3:30. But if it is a noon kickoff, that is a huge advantage to Michigan. And I like, that I thought USC that they'd be catering to those West Coast teams. Like, we're never going to put them in a noon start. So that would be great. What would even be greater is if they had them coming in November. I want to see USC and UCLA coming in November, but I like Michigan by double figures. That line could be 9.5, and I would bet it right now, Scar. The USC, they're soft. That everybody puts the soft label on Ohio State for good reason. USC is like hold my beer.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they're going to improve on defense. I mean, we have them game. We'll have time to get our quarterbacks 4 or 5 games under his belt. So I like that. That's that. Denny, I want to comment on Denard Robinson. You're right, Aaron. Scar's giving away free money. Pick a winner there. Let me say this about Denard. I'm disappointed, sad. I met him, just a great guy, great Michigan man. He made a mistake, and it's gonna impact recruiting, Danny. He's a presence. He's a legend. When guys go on campus to meet, there's a couple guys that people don't think about. Fred Jackson and Denard Robinson are 2 of them. You go on a trip to Michigan, and you're going to meet all the assistant coaches, the head coach, but you're going to meet Fred Jackson and Denard Robinson. Those are 2 great guys, and they play a role when guys come up on a recruiting trip. So I wanted to point that out. I'm sad to see Denard go, and just be aware of that he was a presence in the recruiting factor.
Yeah, well, it sucks on a lot of different fronts when it comes to Denard Robinson. He's one of the Michigan football fans' favorite players ever. I mean, he's up there. And for people that don't go that far back, he's really close to the top of the list. He might have been getting bumped off from last year's team and everything else. But a lot of times when it comes to, DUIs or alcohol and driving, you kind of say the same points. And, not to make light of it or something, luckily, nobody was hurt. I mean, that's the first thing. You get second chances in America. It must have been a bigger situation. We don't know all the details there, but he didn't have a history of any alcohol situations, unlike the defensive line coach the month earlier, Scruggs, who did. So, you hope the best for him, and that if he needs to get his life straightened out, he can. There'll be plenty of opportunities out there for him if he can, keep his nose clean, whatever. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jim Harbaugh, find Mike McDonald. I mean, that's one thing about Michigan. They got a great.
Yeah, go coach with Tyrone Wheatley down at Wayne State, Denard. Go coach a position. Coach a position. He hasn't coached a position yet. Get started. Tyrone will help him out. Then
he'll be all right.
Another thing, I just want to throw this out. I want the kid from Michigan State, Mangum. I want that kid playing for Michigan. He is a good player, the safety. We get that kid. I mean, he is a Rod Moore, all Big Ten type of safety. He is. I want to get that kid. So I watched him play. He's good. He's fast. He's tough. That's my comment on Mangum. Any comment about him?
Yeah, I take your word for it. I saw, there were some people thinking that he was a little light, that he needed to bulk up a little bit, whatever. He looks like a pretty good player to me. I want him because he went to Michigan State, and the Spartan fans, I usually don't get involved in this part, but man, State is coming off looking really bad with one of their guys thinking about going to Michigan. Like, their former players are trashing him left and right. I mean, they can't, say anything meaner to him. And, meanwhile, let's see him just come to Michigan and have some success. I'd like to see,
Hey, so far, so good. No Peacock, Michigan on Peacock. So far, I haven't heard any of that. So I'm hoping that holds up. Just wanted to point that out.
I think I'm still paying for Peacock. So, I don't know.
Terrible. Hopefully Ward will fight that. Put somebody else on Peacock. what did I want to say here, Danny? I'm wondering what's going on with the kid from Brighton or Hull, Kenka. He was committed to Michigan.
Yeah.
You know, you're committed to Michigan. Why the hell are you taking recruiting visits? I don't understand what's going on. Sharon has a different approach to that. Remember, Brady Hoke. Brady's a friend of mine. I love Brady Hoke. Brady's approach was this. His philosophy was this. Hey, if you're committed, I'm committed. If you're looking, I'm looking. So I don't understand why this guy's out here looking. He's committed to Michigan, but you're taking visits to all these other schools. I don't get it, man. I don't understand the philosophy. But he's a good player. I seen him. I watched his tape. I want to get him locked in, and I just wonder what the strategy is there. It obviously ain't the Brady Hoke approach.
Well, I think that if it's college football fans, don't get too attached to any player at any time, even if they're committed, even if they're signed, even if they're on your team. Poof, they can be gone, and in the transfer portal one day they can be gone and playing for another team the next day. So I mean that hurts college football overall as fans, where, and especially the big time fans like we have here that are big time Michigan fans. And you follow the recruiting game, and you get a commitment. And you're like, oh yeah, this is a kid from Howell right down the street. You're gonna write him down on your desk. You're gonna remember this kid forever. And then he's looking well. It probably goes back to what we're talking about, Scar. Bobby Kanka, committed to Michigan. Wolverines loved him and everything else. We can't wait to get you in here. And then, I don't know, maybe Michigan State up the road saying, hey, how about come up and visit us? We'll give you $20,000 just to come visit us. And when he's up there, we'll say, hey, we'll throw you $150,000. You can play here. I don't know.
I get it, man. I'm just a little more on, let's shake a man's hand and look him in the eye and say, hey, I'm in, coach. Okay. You're in, I'm in. We're done. We're all done. Let's get up here and have a, I don't know, man. I'm old school like that. Danny, what else you got on your list there?
We're going to the
quarterbacks.
Whoa, let's go to the quarterbacks. All right, we can do that. Let's go.
Listen, here's just some things I'm thinking about as an old player and coach. What they're going. They got their 7-on-7s. They're throwing down there. They're running. They're lifting. They're throwing. Camp is going to start not too far away. When you look at the Michigan quarterback situation, what is it? 4 or 5 guys that they're talking about. Okay. What I would like to see and what I'd like to hear is just get that thing down to 2 guys and give them 80% of the reps. Give your 2 guys 80%. Let the other guys share about 10% because we got to get 2 guys ready. So. I've already said my piece. I think the 2 guys are Tuttle and Orji. That's what I think. And then the other 2 guys are battling for the 3rd spot. But Danny, that's I just wanted to interject that I would like to hear pretty soon that it's a 2-horse race and that coaches are saying, okay, these guys are getting the majority of the reps because reps are huge. We got to get figured it out. We got to get everything figured out for Fresno. And get that thing and get it up and running because the Longhorns are coming in town with an All-American quarterback and a great football team, and we got to be locked in, multiple reps with 2 guys ready to go.
Yeah, well, what I would want to know, I think going into fall camp, you're right. Your plan about having your starter taking the majority of the reps and then the backup. But in the summer phase, I don't know how organized it is. You can go over to the football building and you can have some of the wide receivers. You're talking about 7-on-7, but, can't they have, in this case, let's say, Orji and Davis Warren, and then can't they just come out and then the next guys couldn't Denegal and then Jaden Davis be working with another set? And they could be doing that all day long. There's no coaches there. They don't have film on them. They're not breaking that down. I don't know. Maybe they can do that. Maybe they can't. Maybe they're doing it anyways. I don't know.
You might be right. As far as some of this summer stuff, but when we get into camp, I coached early on at a program when I was coaching at Ypsilanti as an assistant. We had like 70 kids. Guy gives me like 11, 12 outside linebackers. We had a bunch of guys to coach, and it's like, I got to get ready for the scrimmage. I got to get ready for the first game. I got 4 of them that can play. The other guys, they can't play. And then you feel bad as a coach because you don't want to, you're giving them reps, but then you don't want to give them reps because you want to get your other guys ready to play. You know what I mean? So I understand the downside of having to give reps, feeling you have to give reps to guys that aren't going to really help you once you get into the nitty gritty, and here come the Longhorns. So that's the point I'm trying to make. I obviously the coaches understand that too.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. When you were talking, I remember when J.J. McCarthy was a true freshman. I don't remember what the game was, but it was something like they got back from a road trip, and it was J.J. and Donovan Edwards, and I don't know who else it was, but they'd gone over at midnight over at the field, and they were throwing the ball around because they wanted to get some reps in. And that's what I would think, like Jaden Davis. Now, Jaden Davis was here for spring ball, but the freshman wide receivers, Amarian Stewart and Shannon Goodwin, who are coming in, they're getting close to coming in. I would think that those guys would be going over in some kind of, practice situation, 7-on-7 situation. They're going to be working maybe with all the quarterbacks, but certainly they're going to be working with, if I'm Jaden Davis, I'm going to make sure I'm getting that work in.
Yeah, I hear you, man. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the quarterback. Denny, we got the Eagles on the schedule. We got EMU on the schedule for 27 and 30. And I think that's great for the state of Michigan, keeps the money here. It kind of hurts some of them hotel, restaurant guys because, they're not, the Eastern Michigan fans are, there's a whole lot of thought that goes into scheduling, Arkansas State or Eastern Michigan, for a home game like that. So anyway, they're on the schedule, and
I don't know how many people are coming up from Jonesboro, Arkansas to watch Arkansas State to stay around, but I get your point. I like that it stays in the state as well, and I like it for Eastern. They probably do. They do stay in a hotel, but when you're 8 miles away, they can get on a bike and just go ahead and bike right over, and they get their check and that kind of thing, and yeah, that's good.
Anyway, Denny, one more thing. The Suggs kid, the Grand Valley kid, was supposed to declare today. I don't know if any of our listeners have heard anything. He's a guy I'd like to see us get. That would give us another plugger in there. It looks like a good player. I live, Warren, but in Michigan system. If Orgy competes 4 passes or less, but runs for 75 for your game, I'll take the guy. You're right. Hey, Alex Orgy, he's not going to have to be as much of an effective passer as JJ, but his threat as a runner is huge. He's just got to stay healthy. So anyway,
I wouldn't get too attached to was it Javier? The connections with Brian Kelly with Grand Valley. I know it's been a while since he was there. And then he took his last trip to LSU, and it was just BK last week. We're not spending late in the recruiting game or in the portal game. We're not just going to go buy some guys, which to me meant we're buying guys, and we just need a little extra money. And I
could do a whole episode on Brian Kelly and how he built that Grand Valley program, Danny. You want to go into the dirt a little bit? One day we'll do that. I don't believe nothing he said.
Give me a teaser on Brian.
I just did. One day we'll jump in there.
Oh, one day you'll do it. Okay.
All right. Too long. Anyway, did you listen? I had some thoughts about our schedule, ranking the difficulties of these teams. It might be a while, or do you want to just real quickly hear them? Danny, my
thoughts on the schedule, Scar.
I'm just going to rank, Danny. I'm going to rank them real quick. And I'll let you go, and because we really could have a whole debate about this, but obviously I ranked them 1 to 12 in terms of difficulty. Ohio State on the road, no question, the most difficult. I have Washington on the road as our second most difficult game. I have Texas, the third most difficult, but we got them home. Oregon, number 4, we got them home. I had a flip-flop with USC and Michigan State at 5 and 6. They could go either way, but they're both home. Then I got Illinois on the road will be the 7th most toughest game. Indiana on the road is number 8. Minnesota, home 9. Fresno, that is number 10 for me because, they're always a good team. We got them at home, and that'll be our first game for our new quarterback. I got Northwestern as the 11th toughest game, and then Arkansas State is the 12th. So that's how I ranked them in terms of difficulty. Buckeyes 1, Washington 2, Texas 3, Oregon 4.
I like your thoughts. I think that there would be a lot of people that would not agree with you because I don't think that much of Washington, but and they think a lot more of Oregon and Texas, but Michigan, for as long as I've been watching them, they struggle to go to California, just like you're talking about USC coming in the time change and everything else that works the other way. And it's tougher the other way when you have to go in there and,
home field matters, Denny. In Washington, there's certain places that have a home crowd. Washington is one of them. Jerry and I played in that stadium. It'll be loud. It'll be hostile. We're going to travel 4 hours. Trust me, we got Texas home. It's a whole different deal coming out of that tunnel, man. Sleeping at the Campus Inn, and so with Oregon and those guys, having clam chowder the night before at the Campus Inn. That's a whole nother deal, sleeping in those beds, in your crowd. So we'll get into that in more detail if you're ready to get on that film. Go ahead if you're letting some comments on that.
Nah, I just love it. I got the wheels spinning because the whole up to this point right now, my feeling is that Michigan's 3 toughest games were Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas. But when it came to the Washington game, I already said it on Monday that's a game that people are not giving enough. That's going to be a real difficult test that people are not thinking about because of the personnel that Washington lost. But you went and put it at number 2. So, my hey, watch out, this is tougher than you think, is not, Scar saying this is going to be their second toughest game of the year. You up the ante on me. So I'd
rather play Oregon at home than Washington on the road. I'd rather play Texas at home than going to Washington. So that's just me. Danny, you ready for some film?
Yeah, I'm just I liked it. I liked the way you approached that, Scar. Good stuff. Yeah, I am ready. Of course I'm ready. I'm ready for some film for sure.
Right, you got us up here punting the football?
Is this a punting? Yeah, that looks like a punting formation.
Right, look, here's a punt formation that I don't remember seeing. Anyway, JB, the new strength coach or new special team coach, he's got to be good. He's replacing a legend, Jay Harbaugh. We had the best special team coach in the Big Ten last 5 years. So JB, they're bringing multiple punt formations, Denny. People that watch football, they don't look at some of this stuff, but old coaches like me, you got to adjust to all this stuff. The defenses have to look at what are they doing? Why are there 2 guys here and 1 here? And why are these 2 guys offset? All those little things matter. They give defenses headaches. They give punt return special team coaches headaches. So I like seeing coaches that give other teams headaches. So JB, I like seeing this stuff. And I just wanted to point it out that these things matter. Okay, so there's some formational stuff, some trickery, deception. It's like, why are they doing it? Denny, when I played at Michigan, we had 1 punt formation for 5 years. It never changed. And it was predictable, and that's all it was, man. It was a double tight end, 2 up backs, a personal protect. Everything was in tight. And it never, ever changed. Bo had the same philosophy and for the whole time there that I was there. So anyway, we're going to start taking a look here. Denny, I pointed this out. 97 is Hutchinson. I watched him when he was a freshman. 17 was McGregor. I watched him when he was a young guy. You got your program out. I want to throw some numbers out at you. But I saw those guys make a lot of mistakes as young guys. Who's 33, Denny? And he's got
Nichols, a true freshman in for spring.
He is a kid that just hasn't played enough football. I like what I see physically. And then tell me who 18 is too. But he's got to feel the split, And these are just young guy mistakes. He's not feeling this split here.
18 is McBurrows on the Mays roster. So I don't
there's
know.
A linebacker here. We gotta get this linebacker. I see
Cole Sullivan is 18.
Well, I see what they like about him. 96. I see what they like, and why they're going to keep. He's like I said, his technique was a little high at times. Etta, but he is a tough, athletic kid. I really like. We're stuffing this rollout play here, but you watch Etta here. This end's got to be better. Okay, we're playing man and zone. Danny, I want to point this out. When you do a lot of stuff, and this was one of the greatest things about McDonald and especially Minter, we did a lot of stuff, man, zone, slant here, slant there, with very few mental mistakes. And that was one of the greatest things Minter did. And I'm seeing things, I'm seeing mental mistakes. Here's two linebackers running into each other and no one covering this guy over here. See this back here at the top, Denny?
Yeah, I saw that. So
there's nobody covering this running back. But anyway, we're stuffing it up here. And this kid's got to feel this young freshman here. But we don't cover this back coming out of the backfield because these linebackers, somebody screwed up. And this could have been a touchdown. There's nobody covering him. See him leaking out there if they saw it?
Yeah, that could have been the Cole Sullivan's guy.
Okay, so he is a freshman kid then. He is a high school kid, right?
Yeah, so's 33. 18 and 33 are guys that came.
I like what I see physically and athletically. They just don't know what the hell they're doing yet, which is understandable. So, but I can see why they liked them. I can see why they recruited them. They just got to get reps and just see things, man. I saw the same thing from Hutchinson. He used to drive me crazy. I saw the same stuff from McGregor when he was a young guy. Danny, this is just a straight, I say this play defines us. See what I got written down here on the bottom? This play defines us on offense and defense. Offense, can you run this stuff? And defense, can you stop this? Just basic zone play, inside zone. Okay, I like this formation. So I got a couple of things going in here. I like how it defines us, but I like this formation. And I got a lot of stuff written there. You really can't see it. Let me move it up here. You see how you got guard, tackle, tight end off the ball where a tackle would be, tight end on the ball, and then the guy off the ball here. So I like some of this stuff because you can really have this guy here. You can have this tight end off the ball block back here, block here. And a lot of defenses don't know how to line up to that formation. You follow me what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean it's a little confusing. You better be up there ready to know who's on the line of scrimmage.
Well, you better, it's like because I ran some of these formations, and a lot of guys on defense, you don't know how they're going to adjust to it. Because you got guard, tackle, do they treat this guy like a tight end, like a tackle? How do they shift their line? What do they do? So I like seeing this kind of stuff, but this is our base front. And, just a tough yardage in there, man. Two offensive and defensive. This is how we're great. This is how we're great and how you develop a great run game and a great defensive front to stop the run is by big, tough, strong dudes going against each other. And Denny, who is 97? What's his name again?
97 in the maze?
In the yellow, yeah. Defensive. This kid has punch. I've watched him punch, and I don't know how much they've mentioned his name.
Yeah, he's a Chibi.
Okay, well, that kid's got some punch. Now I noticed this right away when I was at practice. The Donovan Edwards is not the same kid. Okay, he's a bigger, thicker kid, man. It was really, really obvious. We talked about it, and you could see him running, more physical. So he did the right thing coming back. He did the right thing getting in that training table and getting second helpings and finding the weight room, and he's going to have a great year.
I thought you were talking about Jenny Taft. Now, I agree with you.
Oh no, Danny, this is a PG show. I'm not talking about her guns.
Okay, Eric, you're right. Donovan Edwards, everything that you would want to hear from him this offseason, leadership, outlook, philosophy. He's got it. He sounds like he is ready to be a great leader, a great player on the field, everything. It's all the stuff, all that stuff we talk about. You want guys looking for money and everything else. But man, Donovan Edwards, you listen to him heading into his senior season. That's where you sit around and you say, that's why I love college football. That's why you love Michigan. You love hear guys talking like Donovan Edwards is talking right now. It's great stuff.
We ran this defense in 85. It's a simple thing. We called it slant strike. We're slanting to the right. We're dropping the weak side edge player here. We don't have contain over here, but the wink is old school. I've covered it. We're bringing the strong safety off the edge here. We're slanting the defense to the right. There's a mental breakdown here. We have no contain on this side of the ball, but this quarterback is a cool, smooth customer, man. He feels some pressure. I like this block by our running back. He steps up here and really meets this guy. I like seeing that. This Klein kid, Denny, he's a Scooney type kid is what this guy is. Klein.
Yeah.
So we hit the jackpot there. He can catch it. He can block. And he's a big kid. This guy bounces off of him. So we have two for sure that can play. And hopefully Tonelli will give us a third tight end that can block and catch. But I feel real confident that we have, with Loveland and Klein, that we have two legitimate tight ends.
I would just want to remind people that have tuned in maybe for the first time this spring. Last year, Scar kept talking about this 89. This 89 can block. This 89 can get out and catch the ball. This 89 allows Michigan to do what they want to do in the running game, and that was A.J. Burner. And early on, even after that practice, you said, you're casting your lot with 17. You liked how he ran.
Yeah, Jenny, I was worried. I was worried. Do we have a tight end that can block? And that question's answered. So we're moving on. Coaches feel comfortable with that. I like this punch from 97. I want to know who's winning the line of scrimmage. Who wins the line of scrimmage? That's what these coaches want to find out. I'd like to see this. What kind of a threat are the defenses feeling with the young freshman, Jaden? You follow me, Denny? When he puts that ball in the gut, like when JJ put the ball in the gut, coach, people were worried about this. You saw linebackers and people flying out of there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I don't like, that fake. That's terrible. He's not even carrying out the fake. Quarterback coach has got to work on that. Carry out the fake and run out here. You follow me? Make the defense honor it. But again, I like the punch from 97. There's some good fighting in there. And Donovan's going to have a great year, man. We got to feel real good about our running back depth. More fit. All of them are physical guys, and Donovan will still hopefully have that big play threat. And here's some more old school stuff. What am I seeing here? We're in our 3-4 defense or I-back formation. This is old school offense. This is I-backs, double tight. We bring a receiver in tight with a fullback in the game. We're in our base formation on defense. And we're just running power. We're running weak side here to the left. How are we blocking this? This is just power. Backside guard, kicking out with the fullback. Are we getting movement on this guy? Danny, I felt the most important deal on this play is to get this 5 technique moved. As a coach, I always felt this guy right here was the key to running this play, and he was the key to stopping it. Anytime I had success against good power, teams that wanted to run this play, this guy had to have a good game so that these two guys can't knock him out of there.
Tip of the spear, right, Scar?
Well, it's in a way, yeah. It's like Minter talked about with these two players in here. Yeah. You can't have movement there. Are we getting movement there? Yeah, and running back, that's if that's 4 yards, that's a win for the offense. So, yeah, that's a play we want to be able to run because there's other people aren't seeing that. And Denny, we talked about the rings. Look at those 4 rings they're getting, man. 4 rings. Moving along. Here's some one back. We're in nickel here. Drop 33. Eyes. Where are your eyes? I like
backfield 33.
So he's right. Let me see here. Oh, I think I was talking about the protection. Anyway, I like this backer's drop here. He's feeling the route. You got to feel routes with your eyes and not just drop into air. And if the route is coming inside, then see how he squeezes back inside. Some of that, I just like seeing that stuff. Coaches are seeing that. Danny, did you get the pic I sent you of our coaches down at IMG?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll show that next week. So our coaches were down there at IMG recruiting. Here's multiple formations out of the punt game. Here's some motion now. So we got to be great. The punt play is so important, and we got to catch the ball. So this is good to have guys that are getting reps catching the football.
Now, Scar, when you're lining up the punt formation, that looked very similar to what they had the last time.
Yeah, it did. But they're
overloaded. I mean, is that good for protection? What if there's a rush coming from the left? Are they got to slide over? Big time?
They have the ability to move people and adjust like that if you feel pressure. So they can move those 2 guys or move your backs or move your up back, your personal protector. Tackle. We got to tackle. 1 back. We're just this is not good. So I got a circle around somebody. We got an opportunity. So we're slanting the defense to the left. See how we're bringing these guys up here, Denny? They're pretending they're in coverage, right? These 2 guys are out here like they're off in coverage.
Yeah.
And then on the snap of the ball, we're slanting the defense here, and this guy has to be flatter and make the tackle. You're unblocked. Make the tackle. See, that's not good. And we got another guy missing him. We got 2 guys missing him. Who's that running back there?
Tavi.
So,
Dunlap.
Coaches are saying to Dunlap, hey, good job. But these other 2 guys, they're like, what the hell? You got to tackle. So that's not good tackling.
Better wrap up Dunlap or 2 broken tackles. That's nice. Wow, look at that.
Look at this, man. You talk about recruiting. Rings talk, BS walks, baby.
Yeah. I like that. I just saw a picture of JJ from last night at the basketball game. He was looking pretty good.
You got to love the kid's attitude, man. Just a team guy. And I never, ever, did you ever hear that kid talk about himself, Denny? Ever in 4 years? 3? Did you ever hear him talk about himself?
Scar, the 23 team was perfect. I mean, every guy on there. I sit around talking about Blake Corum and Roman Wilson. I could go right down the list. Kojo. I mean, these guys walked the walk. They knew leadership everywhere. That's why they wanted. That was part of why they wanted.
In fact, you never heard any of them talk about themselves other than taking responsibility if something was wrong. That's just a culture, man. Anyway, this now we talked about Dunlap here. We got to block this guy. Come off and get this guy. So that's on the back.
What's up with that throw?
Yeah, look at all them rings, man.
Scar, did you wear? I mean, do you think they wear? I mean, I see him wearing the rings now, but do you wear one of those rings? They're so big. Would you wear that ring?
I don't wear mine very much at all, Denny, but some guys wear them.
What ring do you wear? You got a Michigan ring, your M ring?
I wear the M ring more than any other ring. Yeah. Anyway, this is executing here. I like this execution. One back. I got the just a nice block by the tight end there. I thought our offense come off the ball and they got the better of the defense on this play. They're coming off the ball. They're getting movement. Okay, what the hell do I got written here? These two guys, the center and the guard, coming off the ball. Oh, they picked up the stunt. That's what I like there, Denny. This is what I like. There's a stunt going on here. Okay, and this is smart, athletic, upfront blocking. And by these two guys, okay, the defense is going to stunt. See that little stunt there? Tackle's going inside, backers coming outside, and they pick it up and they block it. And then we get a great job downfield block here. This is execution, man. That is a well-blocked football play that's executed. I think we have Anyway, I like seeing that offensive line picking up those stunts. Couple more plays. So again, Dunlap is a guy that you got. If you look at our backs, I mean, you got four guys that can play.
Well, if you're built like Dunlap and you're hard to tackle, I think you're going to get a chance here or there.
Yeah. Yeah, this can never happen, man. This is like the first thing the defensive coordinator, the secondary coach, this is the first thing you talk about, man. They ain't throwing the ball over our head ever. They are not throwing. This is a zone coverage, and you just can never, ever let this happen. This guy can never, ever let this happen. Show guys why they don't play. So this is why, you make mistakes. This is why you're not going to play. So anyway, rush. I got a question here. We're not getting any kind of pressure. Offensive line is just owning the defensive front there. And that's just terrible secondary play. And the up front pressure is not happening at all. Just hanging on blocks. Nice throw by Davis Warren. But he's got separation. It's an easy throw, big receiver. And the secondary didn't make it hard for him.
Little Ronnie.
Yeah, he ain't little, man. He's like I said, he's a lot taller than his brother.
Joe Klatt was saying that was 55-yard throw.
What do they have him listed at? How tall is he?
Who are we talking about? Davis Warren? Bell is, what number was he? Oh, 12 in the maze. 6'2", 180.
Yeah, okay, well, he's a tall, lanky kid, man. So yeah, he's again, I keep beating it up, but I still think this 13 here, don't count this guy out. 10 and 13. We'll see.
Yeah, so, you got to be able to throw the ball if you want to be the quarterback. I mean, you can't throw it left-handed.
Yeah. I think that's the last play. I'm going to run into what Jerry had here in a second. But we'll get in. We're going to get into some Texas film. Yeah, that's the maybe next week some Texas. Maybe look at some just some of the people But then again, Washington's got a new coach. We'll. Anyway, I thought this was interesting that Orgy was still in. That the coach is still. He's got to get reps. You follow me, Denny? Here we are late in the scrimmage.
I like that too.
Well, it's what it tells you is these coaches aren't set on nothing. There is no starting quarterback in their mind. And that's what it tells me. He's still in the game. They're in the fourth quarter. There's 10 minutes left. They have made no decisions about the quarterback position. The fact that he's still in the game. So there's Harbs with the The tattoo, boy, he honored that commitment.
Yeah, you said you were going to get one if they won this year, didn't you, Scarcelli?
I guess I got a few more plays here. We must move him. I talked about him executing center pull. This is something that we run. We like to have centers that can pull, and this play is well executed. You know, where this is a form of a counter. So 52 here, Danny. When I say you got to know where your help is, you know, I'm watching him here. Must move. So again, the offense has got to move this guy, and he cannot allow him to move him. And so 52, you got to know where your help is. 52. He's got a secondary player who's going to give him help on the outside. Danny, you follow me here?
You got to keep him inside.
Well, so what he should be doing is, if I'm 52 right now, and I know I got run support help here, I got to take this guy more of an inside punch. You follow me? I got to take him out with probably my right shoulder through his inside shoulder and make this play bounce outside to the unblocked defender. You got it? So I don't know how they're coaching this, but this isn't sound. Because now you got two guys. You got two guys outside. Look what we end up with. We got two guys outside the defense, and then they run that ball inside there, and they execute it. But we don't make it difficult for them. 52 has got to be inside of that thing more, in my opinion. So those are things they're looking at. Coaches will run that play over 10 times to make sure they know where the heck you got to know where your help is, Danny. But don't forget about this kid here. I saw him play in high school. This kid, Odin, dad's a Michigan grad. And I saw this kid, Odin, at practice. These three dudes here, keep your eye on these guys, man. We talked about 91, 96, and 97. Big, strong, tough, good-looking players. And they're protecting the linebacker. So they're protecting the linebacker so he can make plays. You know, this guy's making plays, but they're protecting him. The defensive front is taking and punching and playing at the line of scrimmage. Remember how you always heard me talk about playing at the line of scrimmage? We don't want to play. We want to play football defensively on their side of the line of scrimmage. But anyway, the linebacker's free because these guys are eating up blocks. And this kid is he is a high school kid in there and getting reps. Yeah, this guy here, I got him on my list, Danny. I haven't heard the coaches talk about. I think he's a mean kid with punch. So I got him on my list. I ain't heard the coaches talk a lot about him, but we'll see where he's at.
I thought I heard, I think Sharon Moore say his name, and I thought, wow, does he not know how to say Ike Iwana's name? Because you have Ike Iwana and then you have Anwana Chibi. And so it was a little bit confusing, but no, those are two different guys.
Okay, because every time I see that kid, he's punching. This guy's high here. 50 is gone. This dude right here transferred. This dude right here, Denny, he is gone. Watch him on this play.
Ooh.
That high school kid just launched him. You see what that 17-year-old high school kid did to him?
He reverse pancaked him.
He threw him on his back. That's a 17-year-old kid, and this kid is transferred.
Wow.
So you wonder why guys transfer? This is why guys transfer. Because we're in the film session, believe me, in the film session, the coaches saw this, and everybody, all them other offensive linemen saw that. This kid's too high here. What number is this guy right here, Denny?
I'll have to look. I can't tell right there.
This guy right here. It's way too high. Technique is poor. And the offense wins there. That keeps you on the bench. That's how they point that out. That's way too much. That's all about technique, too. They're just ripping us there. We're way too high.
You know, I'd heard people talking about Cole Sullivan putting Amir Herring on his back, and I didn't remember it, but I just did. You know, that was pretty telling.
This might be my last play here, Denny. Again, look at this offensive line come off the ball. You're getting a great movement here. Punch. 53, 75. I'm high on Gentry. And then this running back Hall. This kid's a tank. This is a well-executed play. And then there's the freshman, the high school kid coming off, showing athletic ability. So this is encouraging right here. This guy right here. This guy right here.
He doesn't make the tackle here, does he?
No, but he punches, he beats the heck out of a lineman. He comes, he doesn't make it. He's got to wrap him up. You got to make the play. You got to wrap him up. I think that is the last play I had, Denny.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Jerry will finish up from there.
Generous Jerry? Is that what you call him?
Yeah. Jerry was always a guy ready, willing, and able to help any man in need. That was Jerry's nickname in college. Generous Jerry, Denny. Ready, willing, and able to help his fellow man whenever he was called upon. So people knew he was that kind of a guy. He had that rep.
Sound like the kind of guy you want to go have
Good
a
friend.
with. Maybe
Good loyal friend, always there for you. Anyway, that's the film, Denny. The more I look at that film, the more and more I get fired up, and the more I realize we have depth at some of those positions I was concerned with, and just getting confident, man. USC, Michigan. I like Michigan. Trojans are going to travel 4 hours, and they're going to get up at 6 in the morning and play at 9 a.m. their time.
All right. I want to thank Quick Cut for the video and analytics that we just watched Scar take us through. So thanks very much to those folks. Go ahead, Scar. I got one more thing for you. But first, let me tell everyone that this continues on at the Maize and Blue Review. Why not jump on in for the rest of the spring and the summer? To do that, go to the website, michigan.rivals.com. That's the way you get in to the Maize and Blue Review, and we will see you over there on the Den. Scar, have you ever – there was a guy that a friend of mine who was friends with a baseball player for Michigan State, and they won the Big Ten championship. And one time we were in a line at a bar, and the guy said, "We don't wait in line." And he just walked up to the front, and he went like this. He's put his fist out, and he had the championship ring on there. And, they did. They waved, how many times I've been waved in through the front of a line. I don't know. That might have been the only time. But after that, we all thought that was pretty funny. Anytime our friends and I ever went to the bar, I don't think I ever saw that guy again, but he always just went like this. We're like, "Hey, go give me a drink." You'd say, just hold out that ring. Have you ever just said, "Hey, this is Michigan. Come on."
Denny, that was the extent of our NIL back in the day. They knew you were a player. You got a couple of hookups in and around town. I'd love to tell you this story, but it's not, I don't think it's appropriate. There's a Lester Hayes story about a speech he gave to some little, 12-year-old Little League pal football players at their banquet. Lester Hayes, the great defensive back from the Raiders, he had a little speech impediment. He wasn't a great speaker, but he went up there and said, "Guys," and this is all he said, Dave. This is supposed to be a true story, okay? He had that Super Bowl ring on. He went up there and he stood in front of the young guys. He said, "Guys, you get one of these," and he pointed to his ring, "and you get all it starts with a P.
Pop?
No, it's not pop.
All right.
He said, "You get one of these, you get all the P you want."
Now, I can see saying that to
That's supposed to be a true story.
I don't know about saying it to a bunch of 12-year-olds.
That's what makes it interesting.
That was
supposed to be a true story.
Scar,
you just had me thinking about the ring and flash in the ring.
I love that story.
Well,
you know who my favorite cornerback of all time is, Scar?
Lester.
That's Charles Woodson. But Lester Hayes, before Charles Woodson, number 37, he He put his hands in this goop,
Pick him, yeah. He was all covered with it, man.
and nobody looked cooler in that Raiders jersey, number 37. Put him out there on an island. Lester Hayes.
Yeah,
Man.
you could throw a ball at him and it hit him and he'd just stick to him. That stuff was all legal then, but that's my Lester Hayes story.
That is a great story, Scar. I loved it.
All right, Denny, it's all good, man. Go Blue.
There he is, Jim Scarcelli. We ask you, leave us a 5-star rating. We like the 5 stars. We'll give you a little NIL and smash that like button. For Scarcelli, I'm